1970s were golden for soul and R&B, an era where rhythm met raw truth. Here are 7 hidden stories that shaped the sound and soul of the 70s. Number 7, Love and Happiness by Al Green, the groove born in a ghost studio.
Love and happiness.
When High Records released Love and Happiness in 1972, it wasn't even a single. Just a deep cut from Al Green's I'm Still in Love with You. But DJs couldn't leave it alone.
Something that can make you do wrong, make you do right.
And neither could the public. It spread like gospel at a juke joint. What's rarely told is how the track was nearly shelved. The recording was done in a near-abandoned studio in Memphis. Half the gear was malfunctioning. The horn section had to stop mid-take because a light blew.
Just walk away with victory. Yeah.
Producer Willie Mitchell patched cables by hand while Al freestyled over a basic organ riff. And yet, that imperfect setting gave us the grit, the sweat, the soul. You can feel the room in this track. The dust, the analog hum, Al's voice splitting between heaven and something much more earthly.
Yeah. Happiness is when.
Eventually, it became a slow burn anthem, preferred, sampled, worshipped. The groove lives on. And to think, it almost never made it out the room. Number 6, Let's Stay Together by Al Green, the song that saved a life.
Let's stay together.
In 1971, Let's Stay Together wasn't just a love song, it was a lifeline. At the time, Al Green was torn between 2 worlds, gospel and secular, sin and salvation.
I'm so in love with you.
He almost walked away from music entirely. But then came this song, a gentle plea wrapped in velvet strings and a tender falsetto. What few know is that Al Green didn't even want to record it at first. He thought the tempo was too slow. It took producer Willie Mitchell hours to convince him to sing it just once. Al sighed, stepped up to the mic, and in one take, gave us magic. That first take is what you hear on the record.
Everybody say let's.
And here's the twist. The song's impact went far beyond charts. Years later, Al would survive a horrific personal tragedy, a scalding attack that led him back to the church. He called Let's Stay Together a spiritual turning point. The last secular song he could truly stand by. Imagine hearing it on a late 70s radio dial, static fuzz crackling, Green's voice gliding through with that timeless line. Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad.
Let's stay together.
It felt like someone out there understood. It hit number 1 and stayed there. But the bigger win, it helped Al stay. In music, in life, in love. If that was a story of salvation and soul, this next track brings us into the quiet anonymity behind one of R&B's smoothest ballads. Number 5, and You Are My Starship by Norman Connors. The ballad that was never meant to be. Released in 1906, You Are My Starship floats like a dream. But it wasn't Norman Connors who wrote it, nor did he plan to sing it. The true voice behind this velvety classic? A young, barely known singer named Michael Henderson, formerly a bass player for Miles Davis.
That you wanna be.
Here's the twist. Henderson was never supposed to be the lead. Connors, a jazz drummer by trade, had originally hired Gene Carn for the vocals, but a scheduling conflict left them scrambling. Connors took a leap of faith and put Henderson in front of the mic. What they got back was lightning in a bottle, warm, aching, otherworldly.
And don't be late. Yes, you are.
The song was recorded late at night in Philadelphia after hours of failed takes. Henderson, reportedly exhausted, laid down the final version in one go, eyes closed. The moment he sang, "Don't Be Late," everyone in the control room knew they had something special. It never hit #1, but it didn't have to. Starship became a cult slow jam classic.
You are my life.
Forever floating through late-night radio, red-lit bedrooms, and roller rinks. It was the sound of intimacy, mystery, and a little stardust. And if that one took you to the stars, the next one takes you straight into the fire of heartbreak, burning slow and unforgettable. #4, Neither One of Us Wants to Be the First to Say Goodbye, by Gladys Knight and the Pips. The song that marked a breakup twice. In 1973, Neither One of Us hit like a quiet thunderstorm. Behind that silken production and Gladys Knight's tear-wrapped vocals was a moment of personal and professional goodbye. What most fans don't know? This song didn't just chronicle a love ending. It marked the end of an era for Gladys and Motown.
We're not gonna make it.
The track was recorded during the Pips' final sessions at Motown, after years of feeling overlooked by the label's star machine. They poured every ounce of their frustration, fatigue, and fading loyalty into this performance. Gladys wasn't just singing about a crumbling romance. She was mourning her relationship with the very label that helped build her.
And I guess you must be.
The song's emotional crescendo, when Gladys pleads, "So we go on together, living a lie," was reportedly captured on the first full vocal take. Studio engineers say the room fell silent. No one moved, no one breathed. Ironically, it became their biggest Motown hit, reaching #2 on the Billboard Hot 100, a swan song that soared. Months later, they left for Buddha Records, where they'd reinvent themselves once again. But this track, it was the last goodbye, and no one had the heart to say it out loud. If that one cracked your heart just a little, the next story will carry you into something even deeper, a cry for unity that still echoes through the years. #3, Wake Up Everybody, by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. The anthem gamble that almost didn't get made.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed.
By 1975, Philadelphia soul had found its groove. Smooth, orchestrated, socially conscious. Wake up. Everybody was a shining example, but few know the internal battles it took to bring this anthem to life. Teddy Pendergrass, then the drummer turned lead singer of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, didn't initially want to record the track.
They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands.
He feared the lyrics were too preachy, that it might alienate the dance floor crowd. Gamble and Huff, the powerhouse producers behind the Philly International Sound, insisted. They said, "This isn't just a song, it's a message." The recording was long, emotional. They brought in strings, horns, a gospel choir. The studio was filled to the brim, musicians, background singers, engineers, all leaning into something bigger than just another soul cut.
You and me.
And then Teddy stepped up. What came out of him wasn't just a vocal. It was a sermon. A soul-deep cry to teachers, preachers, politicians, and all of us. Released during a time of recession, weak Vietnam fatigue, and inner-city unrest, it became more than a hit. It became a call. It didn't top the pop charts, but it took over the hearts of a generation. And here's a kicker. Decades later, The Roots, John Legend, and even Common would re-record it, proving its message still burns. If that one stirred your conscience, just wait.
Let's put it in our minds. Surely things will work out.
What's coming next is heartbreak at its most delicate. sung by a man whose pain was far more real than we ever knew. If these stories behind R&B's greatest hits are bringing back memories, give this video a thumbs up. It helps us keep the soul alive. And stick around. We've still got 2 more hidden gems to go, and trust me, number 1 is the kind of story you'll never forget. Number 2, A Song for You by Donny Hathaway, a love letter written in isolation.
We were alone and I was singing this song to you.
Released in 1971 on his debut album, Donny Hathaway's version of A Song for You wasn't the first, but it's the one that stops time. Written by Leon Russell, this ballad became something else entirely in Donny's hands. It turned into a whisper from the soul's deepest corners.
Lit out my life in stages with
Here's the hidden story. Donny Hathaway was battling severe mental illness even as he rose in the music world. Diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, his sessions were often interrupted by breakdowns. But in the moments when he could find focus, he was transcendent. This track was recorded late one night, lights dimmed. Everyone cleared out except for Donny, the engineer, and the piano.
'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing this song.
Donny asked for privacy. He needed to feel it. What he poured into the mic was part apology, part confession, part eulogy. You're a friend of mine. That line, delivered almost like a sigh, wasn't just for a lover. It was for us. For anyone who had ever been lost and hoped they were still loved. Critics didn't immediately pick it as a standout, but over time, it became the gold standard for vulnerability in soul music.
Where there's no space or time.
Covered by Aretha, Whitney, even Herbie Hancock, it lives on as a masterclass in emotional honesty. And tragically, it became one of Donny's defining songs before his untimely death in 1979. A final letter, sealed in song. But trust me, nothing prepares you for what's coming at number 1. A track born from grief, recorded in secret, and sent out into the world like a prayer. Number 1, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, the song Motown tried to bury. In 1971, Marvin Gaye delivered a song that would become a cornerstone of not just R&B, but American music. But what you might not know is that Motown didn't want it released. What's Going On was nearly silenced before it ever reached the airwaves. Gaye had just lost his duet partner Tammy Terrell to a brain tumor. He was grieving. At the same time, his brother Frankie had returned from Vietnam, disillusioned and broken.
I wanna know what's going.
Marvin watched the world shift, protests, poverty, war, and something in him cracked wide open. He turned inward, wrote quietly, and produced the track himself, against label norms. Berry Gordy, the Motown founder, hated it. Thought it was too political, too slow, too jazzy.
Hey baby, what you know good?
He shelved it, but Marvin wouldn't back down. He refused to record anything else unless What's Going On was released. Finally, the label gave in. The result? A masterpiece. Smoky vocals, lush strings, congas, a quiet fury. It felt like eavesdropping on a prayer, and the lyrics? Still painfully relevant today.
What's happening? I wanna know, I wanna know.
It topped the R&B chart, hit number 2 on the Hot 100, and launched the most acclaimed album of Marvin's life. It changed what soul could say, what it should say. And behind it all was one man's grief, one man's vision, and a truth Motown couldn't hold back. From Memphis studios full of ghosts to late-night Philadelphia confessions, these hidden stories show us that behind every R&B classic of the 70s was a truth worth telling. Thanks for joining us on this soul stroll. Subscribe to keep the groove alive and never miss our next stroll. Up next, the 7 hidden stories behind R&B's greatest hits of the 1960s. Click it, and let's keep the rhythm rolling.